Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. This is your WrestleMania Fallout show. And joining me, as always, I've completely up, so we'll forget that.
No, keep that part in. And I've completely this up. Oh, sorry. This is not an explicit show, but today
God.
it is.
It's my head. It's my head. It's my excuse today. Right. Okay, let's try again. Hello and welcome one and all to the Pro Wrestling Post podcast. This is your WrestleMania Fallout show. How are you? My name is Mark Blake, and joining me along for the ride, as always, is my co-host, my buddy, my brother from another mother. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Good, my friend. How are you?
We spoke very quickly before we started recording. I'm suffering a little bit of a headache, which we'll get into in a minute as the reason why. But yeah, I've had a headache. I've got a headache, sorry, but I'm sat here with I've got an iced caramel latte, and I'm about to talk wrestling with you. More specifically, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania. And yeah, how are you? How's you? How's the family? How's life?
Life is good so far. What are we're recording this on the Wednesday, so we've had a couple of days to kind of process, and we were dealing potentially with a tornado in our area yesterday, which led to me having to sleep in a separate room. So my daughter could have cozied up with my wife, so she could have been comfortably there because of the fear of, literally, we had streaks of pink lightning. I've never seen it in my life until last night.
Pink lightning?
Pink flashes of lightning in the sky. I'd never seen it before.
Wow.
And that was essentially our night. I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay. This is, I guess, in the area that we're at. When it comes to this time of year between April and I guess August, we don't worry so much about snowstorms. We worry about hurricane, tornado type warnings. So yeah, we're not in Kansas anymore. So yeah, that's
well. The weather over here in lovely old Blighty in the southeast corner of the country has been wet and dismal and very windy, which is pretty much par for the course for April. So yeah, we just crack on regardless, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Hoping we both get that better weather.
Oh, I can't wait. I've just gone and bought some. I'm going totally off topic here. We'll get to wrestling in a minute, but I've just bought some garden furniture, which I'm desperate to just use and just sit outside and have a couple of beers and watch the sunset, etc. Yeah, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sitting outside under a huge umbrella and a wetsuit, but hey ho, it's just the British summer. Okay, right. Enough of that. You've all sat here and you're patiently waiting for us to talk about WrestleMania. So, ladies and gentlemen, we, as in me and Mark, we connect during most pay-per-views. We'll catch up, we'll talk, we'll message, we'll video chat. We spoke about this last week. So we did it again both nights. I even had a guest over on the Sunday night. We talk about him a lot on here, but Mr. Dan Conroy, hello. You was here, and I'm still waiting for my money. We was all chatting on a Sunday night about how we thought of the shows, how it was going, how we're feeling. And whilst you were talking to Dan, you mentioned about the Hall of Fame, which we didn't cover last week. Shame on us, because obviously Paul Heyman was the big show, so to speak, of the Hall of Fame. And yeah, you basically ranted for about 30 seconds, and I stopped you mid-rant and said, hold it, keep it, we'll do this on the pod. So, I'm giving you however long you want to get this off your chest, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marc Madison, very, very rarely kicking off. Go.
Yeah, you told me to basically put a cork in it, so I did. I bottled it, and I've been sitting and kind of stewing on this from Friday. And then I posted something on social media on the Saturday asking, am I the only one that, and I use kind of like the old man term of calling it tacky. And I don't know how often the word tacky is used in today's vernacular, but I'm like, it didn't seem necessary at all. Not to say the Hall of Fame didn't, but the tactics of it being a Rock of Fame as opposed to Hall of Fame. So let me rewind again. When we first got our initial debuts of announcements of who was going to be part of the Hall of Fame, Paul Heyman was the first one announced. And usually your headliner is typically the first person you announce. They might be the focal point. And that's who we kind of thought it would have been. But I knew that weeks leading into it, just from things that were being released, there were rumblings about the US Express being involved and Bull Nakano being involved and Thunderbolt Patterson being involved and Leah Maivia. And Leah Maivia, for those that didn't catch the Hall of Fame, is a trailblazer in her own right because her and her husband, the late High Chief Peter Maivia, although they're both passed away, ran Polynesian wrestling out of Hawaii. So the names that came in, there was a who's who. And not to say that her place isn't valued, because it is, but it should have been a showcase to value her place. So when I voiced my concern about this, not about her per se being into it, but when I called it a Rock of Fame, well, let's kick back a little bit. Muhammad Ali was also inducted, and his wife, Lonnie Ali, was there to accept on his behalf. But what ended up happening is that in the midst of that induction, they do a pivot where saying, we would like to present The Rock with a championship title bestowed upon him as the People's Champion. Now, I'm going to go out a bit on a limb and say, I don't know how Mrs. Ali would have thought to create a title to have bestowed upon him when you're the TKO, like part of the board, and you have say in how these things are done. So it annoyed me because he didn't need that. He's been calling himself the People's Champion for 20-something years, and now is when you take away from the Hall of Fame induction of Muhammad Ali, not Joe Nobody. And sharing the spotlight is one thing, but when you are the spotlight all the time, you don't need it. And move on this Rock point a little further. When he was inducting his grandmother, it felt like he was searching for words to compliment her. If you're prepared, I know that promos are scripted, but it felt like he was searching for things to give her accolades, but it didn't happen per se. He acknowledged it, mentioned names that came through, and then it turned into a what I'm going to do to you, Cody Rhodes. And I didn't think that was the time or the place when you're headlining a Hall of Fame. So my issue being, it didn't need to be about The Rock. It needed to be about everybody else because it was their show. But for someone to then come and feel like, say to me, well, this is wrestling, but it's not wrestling. This was a program that should have been celebrating artists for their accolades, not to be turned into something that was about somebody else who's not being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and a match that didn't need to be mentioned. Now, do I have issue with Roman Reigns saying to the crowd, acknowledge me upon his mentioning to Paul Heyman as he's inducting him? No, I don't, because it was one line of one thing, and then he moved on to talking about Paul and making Paul the focal point. It's not about making yourself the focal point. It was about making the inductees the focal point. There are other halls of fame that are out there, buildings, structures where you can go. But in all of those Hall of Fame inductions, we never see it turned into a program where you're not highlighting and elevating the inductees for their contributions. That's my issue. I'm not sure how much of a rant that was, as much as I've had a chance to try to organize my thoughts, but that isn't wrestling. That's and maybe in my mind, I'm having a hard time separating between the two. But if you're going to call it a Hall of Fame, whether there's a brick and mortar type place or you're giving somebody accolades for their contributions, that's what I'm looking at it as. So if it's something else, then call it something else. But if you're giving somebody their well due, then please give them their due. That's why their parents are there. That's why their grandparents are there. That's why those that probably physically couldn't get there are watching at home. This is my issue per se. It was mostly about The Rock, who didn't need it, but mostly about honoring those that should have been part of it and making them the focal point.
There you go, folks. It doesn't happen often, but wow, Mark just... It was like an educational rant, I think. You were imparting knowledge whilst talking about what was annoying you. So, okay. I totally agree with everything you just said. But this is WWE, and I think one of the last things that He Who Shall Not Be Named is that he tried to blend the Hall of Fame into the WrestleMania weekend. So, as you said, there was no need really to talk about Cody and a however long minute promo that Rock did and on what he's going to do to him the next day. But I think as a company, WWE will be doing that more often.
They may very well be. I think when they timed it wasn't the best in that it was right after SmackDown. It was a scramble to get everything organized.
Mm-hmm.
So it was take down the ring ropes, recover the area that's there. Why not? Like I liked when they had the stage and it was held in a venue and it looked like a formal presentation. Not to say that the ring isn't a formal presentation, but the way they did it in the past, I guess. And it didn't feel like that.
It's financial, isn't it? It's why
Is
do
it
we
though?
have to? Yeah, of course. Why should we rent out another or the same arena for another night to do the Hall of Fame when we can just cram it into the same night we've just done SmackDown?
Yeah,
it's total. I'm guaranteeing you, it's total financial costs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Why did The Rock need a belt? Did Muhammad Ali's widow? Did she really think? You know what? He's going to induct us. I should give him a gift. So rather than giving him like some home-baked cookies or some flowers, no. I'm going to get a $30,000 replica belt, or not even a replica belt, but a championship belt made just for you. I can't see that. I reckon that's a WWE thing, and they've just said to her, look, do you mind if you just say it's from you? It's okay. You know, just so he could wear a belt because he hasn't got one at the moment. Although if you saw Raw on Monday, he's looking at another one. I don't know. We were talking before we started recording about when Asuka won the Women's Royal Rumble a fair few years back, and she literally won the Royal Rumble. They announced her name. She was looking towards the crowds, just about to like properly get into her celebration, and it was all cut short because Ronda Rousey came out and stole her thunder. That's exactly what happened here. The Rock come out, stole not just his grandmother's thunder, but everyone else's because, well, maybe not Paul Heyman's because his induction speech was bloody amazing. It's what you think about when you hear people talk about the Hall of Fame. It's just unfortunate. And it's also the fact that The Rock is on the board. And as we can see during programming, he can say and do whatever he wants and get away with it.
Yeah.
The PG aspect of the product is slowly not going as such, but it's being bent in certain situations.
Oh, when they go to Netflix, I'm sure it'll be bent backwards and forwards.
When they go to Netflix, you're going to have every bloody fan saying, right, Attitude Era's back. I want blood. I want gore. I want swearing. I want boobs. I want everything. Yeah. Just because it's Netflix.
Yeah.
Are they going to get that? I very much doubt it because the amount of money that they make off merchandise is from kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if all that stuff is going to happen, the parents, right-minded parents, I should say, are going to say, you're not watching it.
Yep.
So it's a fine line. There's a very fine line. There's going to be bits and bobs. Who knows? Yeah, you're right. I'm hoping you feel better now. You've got this off your chest.
Yes, I do. I can actually sleep easier.
You sleep easy.
No more curled up in the fetal position, sucking my thumb. Why? No, I'm actually
backwards and forwards like mankind in the corner.
Yeah. Petting my rat.
I would say tearing your hair out, but you've only got a little bit more than me. So. Yeah, I just think if they're going to keep doing Hall of Fames where they're going to be inducting people that are associated with anyone over the weekend, there's a huge possibility that there's going to be some kind of promo or program or something during the Hall of Fame ceremony. Because it was The Rock, it was big because it's The Rock. He's on the board. He's a huge name. Get eyes on the Hall of Fame, all that kind of thing. But hey, we've now got another year to wait. We will see. We'll see who's going to be inducted for a start. I think, by the sound of it, I think Bray's going in. From what's reading between the lines, from what's Triple H was saying, he was bombarded about why wasn't Bray in this year, and he should be celebrated, he should be remembered, and Triple H says something along the lines of he will be. Just watch this space. So I think next year. I
watched a certain video that a good Mark Blake pointed my direction on Mr. Wyatt. And it was okay up until like the last 20 minutes for me.
Just okay? Why just okay?
No. I was okay up until the last 20 minutes.
Oh, you was okay. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, the emotional like attachment to the video on becoming immortal.
It took me about 2.5 hours to watch that, and I think it's only a 2-hour documentary.
Yeah, it is. No, when everybody started breaking down, I started breaking down. That's when it was starting to get.
I broke down before that. There was parts of that we haven't even spoke about this, so this is going to be fun. There was parts of that documentary where they were talking to Bray's sister and brother, and about how much of an impact he had on them. He was the big brother, all these kind of things.
Yeah,
and it made me think about family members that a family member that I've lost, and it took me out of the documentary for a little bit because all I was thinking was about him rather than the documentary. So I paused it and then composed myself and then watched it. And then, as you said, towards the last 20 minutes, and then the funeral itself and seeing Bo just... Yeah, folks, if you haven't seen it, please go out of your way to watch it. WrestleMania, WWE do amazing work with all their video products, all of them, from the vignettes all the way down to the documentaries. I would say movies, but some of them are really trash. But this documentary in particular, it blew me away. There was parts of that I didn't know about. There was recordings from Wyndham, back when he was in NXT and he just started. So it was like no one had actually seen this apart from people inside WWE. You just literally just watch it. It is great.
I mean, you see the last visual that kind of brought what would have been his last creation, which was like a Fiend reinvention, and how he looked. Very similar to what you've seen before, but just certain portions different. The mask and how they took JoJo's face and superimposed that, and that was really intriguing because when his hair is down, it looks like this, and when his hair is back, it looks like that. So it's almost like a
the little Easter eggs. The design. I think the design's called Jason somebody. I'm really sorry for forgetting his name.
I think it was Jason Baker.
I think it is. But some of the Easter eggs he was doing, the stitching on the face.
Yeah, the stitching on the pants. Yeah. How it was kids' names or like incredible. Yeah. You're just looking from a distance at what things look like, but when you get and you zoom in closer, that's what that is. Oh, that's what that means.
And seeing him get his love for professional wrestling back and then got taken away from us all. But again, folks, just if you can find it,
Becoming Immortal,
well worth 2 hours, or in my case 2.5, because I got too emotional. But yeah, it was really, really good. You need to watch it.
Yep.
Okay, we've done the Hall of Fame. We're now going to hit WrestleMania as a whole. We're not going to talk about day one, then day two. We're just gonna think of things that pop into our head and that happened over the weekend, and then we'll just talk about it. How long this pod's going to go for, I don't know, because me and Mark haven't discussed how long this is going to go for. Strap in, folks. You thought last week's was long. Wow. Okay, you said that you wanted to talk about the champions and the ex-champions, as in what is next for them. So, where should we start? Should we start? Okay, let's start with Rhea Ripley and Becky. What did you think of the match? And how do you think what do you think their future holds?
I think that was a great match. I think they kicked off the event as good as they could have with any match being a focal point. I'm glad they went with that one because they really started off and did a great job. Both women deserve all the credit in the world because that went back and forth from what each woman took to what each woman gave, hitting finishers, taking multiple finishers, kicking out of finishers that hadn't been done. You really see them have to kind of rise to the occasion and push themselves forward, right? I know we were kind of divided on. I had thought that Rhea would have won because of where I kind of saw her moving forward, and you had pulled for Becky, and that was fine because I don't think either one of us really would have lost in that because what we ultimately got was a great showing by both women. But you gave your perspective on what you think is going on with Becky. Do you think her book might have something to do with that? Do you think that's...
Up until Saturday, I thought that Becky would not take some time off, but maybe reduce her schedule just to do some promotional work for her book. And then Saturday, literally 5 minutes before the match started, reports came out from WWE that Becky wasn't feeling that great, that she had been battling a fever of 102 degrees and she had strep throat. And she then went out and performed to possibly the best of her ability. Just wow, by the way, to doing that, because that was me. I'll be calling in sick. Yeah, I think her and Seth, who we'll talk about in a bit, are going to take some time off, maybe till SummerSlam. I mean, what's that? It's 3 months. I'm not sure. Maybe, or actually, no, I retract that. Maybe till Clash in the Castle, because Scotland, Becky, she's literally from Ireland, just a plane ride away. I reckon the pair of them will be off until then. Rest, recuperate, do the books. I mean, she can do the financials if she wants, but she can promote the book and spend some time with their little girl before they once again jump on the WWE horse and away they go. That's what I think is going to happen. With Rhea, the beginning of Raw, sorry, not the beginning, there was a certain part of Raw where Judgment Day came out and the camera just zoomed in on Damian Priest and Rhea. And I was like, that is possibly the future. I know Rhea was talking about asking the four horsewomen to move aside and make room for a new generation. But I can't see anyone toppling her, to be fair. I reckon she is going to be number one for possibly another year. I mean, it wouldn't put it past them even, sorry.
Yeah, barring an injury, she is just the most focal point, biggest part of that faction, let alone the divisions and fans. The harder part I feel is how do they keep her in that heel role, because fans are gravitating to her more so, and being the anti-hero, that's what it's cool to like her. And she's not doing anything that would necessarily suggest that you should be cheering her, other than saying things that are suggestive that men probably really appeal to, not so much kids, right? But she did say something that I found was interesting. She said, we've got a couple things that we need to fix. Remember, they lost the tag titles does that mean we could see Judgment Day members shifting out? They had a 6-man tag match that same night, and everybody that wasn't a champion lost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was just a one-off comment by her or if it's something as a building block, but it would be interesting to know if she repeats herself and saying, we have a problem here. Like, is the love affair between her and Dominic necessarily over? Is it? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens here. But
well, when Dom and Santos lost to Ray and Andrade, it didn't get brought up by Rhea or anyone about that. Dom went off and did his own thing, and I think the way the storyline was, he hadn't asked for permission either and lost. So you could be onto something there. Maybe she's got the right proper hump and she's gonna have words or what have you. I can't see him being booted out the group because he just garners so much hate for him. It's just a heat magnet.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see him going. Like I said, I don't know what the future holds for Rhea, but right now there is no one. Actually, I'll rephrase that. There is no one but one person who is going to step up, and I think if they're probably going to push someone to the moon, a la Goldberg, if you know who I mean.
Yeah. But she's on SmackDown, so who knows after the draft if they rejig things and Jade Cargill is on Raw. She would be the other person that's dominant. Although it looks like Liv Morgan is coming for retribution because she was cost some time, and so that happened on Monday. So
yeah, I saw something. It was like a sit down interview with her and a couple of people from WWE. I can't remember who, but one of them was that Greg guy. They were talking to her, and they asked her what her plans were, and she was like, "Oh, I'm doing this, doing that, but there's one person in my mind that I need to get back, and that's Rhea. She's heading for Rhea."
Mm-hmm.
I think they're feeding her to her because there's no way she's going to win.
No,
she was always booked and come across as like the Sami Zayn ultimate underdog before she won the championship and all the way through her reign. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's probably next. It's going to be for Backlash, which I think is in France.
It is, oui. Sorry.
I mean, you live in Canada. Surely you've got a better French accent than that.
Je parle français, je peux pas.
See, don't do that because I only know swear words in French. It always gets me in trouble. So
yeah.
I've got to be careful.
There you go. Well, I just touched with maybe we reach a different demographic. Maybe we catch France with that.
Yeah, if I spoke in French, I don't think they'd be tuning back in. Not only would I ruin the accent, but I'd probably just offend every single person that listens. So I shall keep that to myself. So that's Rhea and oh my god, I've completely forgot.
Liv Morgan.
That's Rhea, Liv, and Becky done.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the other female championship contenders, or contender and champion, I should say. I do apologise, people. I'm so not with it tonight. Hey, this will make you chuckle, hopefully. We have a brand new women. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? God.
Tired. Your head's bothering you.
I've got 102 fever and strep throat. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh. And he's doing this, folks. He is doing this.
Bailey and Io. I really, really, really bigged that up last week, expecting it to be an amazing match. And it was just okay. And I feel really let down. And I don't know why, because it's not like they even looked like they were going to have a great match. I was under the impression in my own head that they were going to have a great match, and it was just okay. So, yeah, new champion.
What do you think it went wrong? What do you think it went wrong?
I don't know. I really don't know. To me, personally, I don't think the chemistry is there. Even though, obviously, there was chemistry in the group, standing across the ring from each other, I don't think it was there. But, this is just me. I'm struggling with a fever and strep throat, so ignore me. What did you think, anyway?
I enjoyed it. I think we were happy with the result. I think we could see the result coming. I think now that The question now is who steps up. I think Bailey doing what she didn't need any help. There was no outside interference. So if anything, it was a clean win, and she beat her. But God, I sure wish for a better finisher from her. I don't get it. She puts the girl's head next to her knee and kind of helps her. I don't get it. But
don't get me started on finishers. Don't get me started on finishers. Seriously.
Hey, listen. I'm not trying to super collide this with any other finisher that you might. Oops, did I do that? I just don't get it with this one. Maybe there's something bigger will come of it, but I don't know. Like now, the faces are super super strong. If you've got Jade and Bailey and Naomi and Bianca, and they need a mouthpiece on the heel side that will convince you. So maybe these next few weeks are them trying to buy time. But who can really, on the heel side, really provide a really convincing promo that can be a foe, really, for Bailey? Like, I don't know.
Well, going on the back of that, we don't know. There is literally no one stepping up, as I said about in the previous two. So maybe they're just going to run this back at Backlash, which is normally what they do anyway. And then the draft happens, and then mix everything up, and then you can start to see a kind of a route of where everyone's going to go. Could that be a possibility?
Could be. And who do you think would be tied to that route?
Yeah, see, I was buying time to let you try and answer that. I'm just like, please don't ask me. Please don't ask me. I don't know. I mean, Jay's going to get involved in the title scene very, very quickly, looking at her trajectory, and they're basing her off of what she did in AEW, which was quite momentous. And I'm still under the impression that she can't wrestle for shit. Sorry, folks. She is. I mean, saying that, Goldberg couldn't really wrestle either, and look what he did. And I never liked him either. So, but yeah, she's gonna plow through whoever champion is at the appropriate time.
I think they're gonna be really cautious with her, and really, if she's putting in the work, at the end of the day, if come WrestleMania next year, she's had all this time behind the scenes to develop her promo, to develop her other skills, then that says something about how much they've invested in making her this total star. Like, and I think that's maybe your Rhea Jade main event, women's championship match next year. She is nowhere near that now, but I don't think
that's going to stop them. I reckon because they've invested so much time and effort into it already, that they're going to be right. We want an instant return. So you get out there, and it's sink or swim. Please don't bloody sink. That's what I think they're going to do. I reckon she'll be champion by SummerSlam.
Okay. Wow. Which champion? Bailey's?
It'd be easier. I reckon, as you said, the glamour match would be Rhea against Jade. So, yeah, to give her credentials, she could just demolish Bailey.
Yeah.
And then pick up that championship. And then she'll set her sights on Rhea's or vice versa. That's what, I would do. Again, we're just some schmucks that don't know what we talk about, apparently. Oh, God. Good old schmucky. Okay, we mentioned him earlier. Damian Priest. He literally came from nowhere, and well, he's now your our world heavyweight champion after cashing in against Drew McIntyre. How did that go at your house? I'll tell you how it went at mine in a minute.
Oh, we just laughed and applauded because it was all parties involved, from Seth to Drew to CM Punk. It seemed like it went off flawlessly. Was that his wife at ringside, or because they didn't even say whether or not that was his wife? To him taking her phone, giving her a kiss, and just spending an exorbitant amount of time about rubbing it in Punk's face just to lose it. I think that was just so well fitting. And if this hasn't been Drew's best time, even in losing the title, I mean, we're talking about him. We're not necessarily talking about Damian Priest. What does that say, right? I mean, no disrespect to Priest, but this whole 3-4 months of from vignettes to what he's done to like trying to stick it to Punk to Punk costing him again Monday night. I mean, I just don't know if him Punk is the match they go with at Clash at the Castle and not McIntyre Priest in Scotland, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're bang on there. The money is with Punk. It's not with Priest yet.
Yeah.
They've spent a year building Priest up as a tag team champion, Money in the Bank man. Now he's got the title. He needs to prove that he's this badass, that he looks like, that he's gonna run through people, and but McIntyre will get his chance, but first he needs to sort out Punk. But again, you saying that you laughed, you cried, it was so funny. There were three of us on the Sunday, so it was me, Dan, and my wingman Logan. We were watching it, and the amount of time that he was spending outside just talking to Punk on commentary, and then I said about 5 minutes before the match, I said to Dan, "Well, wouldn't it be funny if they do like a Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, and the match is over in like 16 seconds, so from bell to bell?"
Yeah.
And when he hit that Claymore, I was like, "No effing way! Oh my god!" And it didn't happen. But wow, I was like, "Oh man,
what a way to start off! What a way to start off the match, though, huh?"
Exactly. It was start the show. That was the first match as well. So I was like, "Oh my god, it's actually going to do!" And he kicked out. So that was great. But the match itself was very good, very very good. And then he won the title, and then spent, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes just ragging on CM Punk. Which, by the way, one of the lines of the weekend was,
"I can't hear you."
Yeah, I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear. I'm wearing cans. I can't hear a word you're saying. Oh my god, I absolutely lost it at home. I was like, "Oh, that's so good." But didn't you? I think you said to me just afterwards that Drew was saying to Seth that he spent so much time not concentrating on his title, on concentrating on someone else, and that's going to be the basis of him losing.
Yeah.
And then Drew did exactly the same thing. Wins the title, spent all his time with CM Punk in the minute seconds he had the title for, and then lost it. Good foreshadowing from you there. So what's going to happen then? So I've already touched on Seth going off. I think it's already common knowledge that he's going to take some time off anyway to rehab a knee, or is it a back injury or something? I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with Mr. Priest?
I think this is really his time to, like, he's got a great supporting cast, but this has got to be his time to show that he is the champion and that he stands with a supporting cast, but they can't emulate what they did with the Bloodline, where it was Roman and he had a great supporting cast, unless they find that that's the serum that works and that's what works for them and the means in which they're going to go. I think with Priest, how do you differentiate it, but to stand to some extent alone, but he's never been one to need someone else to help him per se. I think there might be some internal jealousy. I think we might circle back to the issue between him and Finn Balor. Yep. Finn is kind of okay, so he's not a champion. He was, where's his role? There was some jealousy before, and then it happened to all go away after they were teasing some dissension. But now he is the champion, and so there's still a target on his back. So Balor may be a challenger for him at some point. When, I don't know, but power breeds people that believe that they're bigger than they are, and they tend to thwart themselves like Roman did for the rest of the bloodline. Maybe he does the same thing with Finn, but only Finn. I think everybody else knows that they are not at that level, but Finn has been the Universal Champion. He's been United States, and he's held the titles. He's been at the top of that mountain. Sure, it was 24 hours, and maybe that might be a point of dissension, and where Priest says, well, you physically couldn't keep up, and that will definitely cause a wedge.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly where my head is. I can see Finn not resenting, but he's going to be like, well, I was champion and I had to give it up 24 hours later because of what happened. I technically have never lost that title. I feel like I deserve it, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then Damian Priest is going to be like, well, your body's a bit brittle. Do you really deserve it? And I reckon there'll be dissension. Could Finn leave? Possibly. Very possibly. Could he take anyone with him? Could he take JD with him? I don't know. Possibly. But JD's such a heel that I can't see it somehow. But yeah, there is going to be a Finn Damian Priest match for the title at some point. Yeah. Possibly Castle. I mean, when's that? It's a few months away.
Yeah.
They could build it. Well, the future is bright with Damian Priest. Is he going to be a one and done champion? Is he going to be a placeholder? Or is he going to be main event level now long term?
I think they're going to have to gauge public opinion. If the outcry with this new era is listening to your fans will, to some extent, if he's over enough that they stand with him to be the champion. This was the working man's title. So if they do that, who's ever holding this has to be able to go and go and go. And I don't think they want. I think they want representation. I think he'll hold it for a few months. To what extent, I don't know. I know that if they're really, the focus is in looking at representation, whether it's Mexican, whether it's African American, whether it's people of different descents and cultures being represented, then how long is this a focal point? Are they going to make sure that he is presented as this dominant champion that won it out of opportunity? And does he make the most out of every opportunity that's presented? Does he fight off every threat? So how do they make him look? That's important.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Sure.
Let's run this back. A certain other person cashed in at WrestleMania, won the title, and everyone was like, no, he's not ready. He hasn't got the physique. He's not ready. Yeah, he can go, but, we don't think he's ready. And then with the authority behind him, he became that main event player. Do you reckon they're trying to do the same thing? Because I can see similarities to a certain degree.
Between, say, Seth and Priest?
So Seth back in the day, from WrestleMania, whatever it was, when he cashed in and won, to Damian Priest now. He's got, as you said, Damian Priest has people behind him, a supporting cast who can help him look good. Seth Rollins had exactly the same thing with the authority. Are they trying to run the same kind of storyline to a certain degree?
To a certain degree. I mean, we could say that any of these really, really successful heel runs have had people that have watched their backs, like long standing. That might be the formula that they stick with, because it's been what people want to see, that guy that just finds every way to win, hook, crook, or what have you. Yeah, that they might be just as well, like you're suggesting, doing the exact same thing that they're doing with Seth. They change this, tweak that, but for the most part, it looks similar, right? But even within the authority, there was dissension, right? Randy Orton did not stick around after, right? So maybe we're not far off in there being eventually dissension. We didn't see it this week. We saw everybody was supportive and hugging, but opportunities will come up. And what about me?
Well, let's see what happens come draft, because you never know. They could all be split. Stranger things have happened. So
that's a question that I find really interesting. Now, let's pretend you and I are the general managers of Raw and SmackDown. The first night of the draft is the Friday, the SmackDown.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm Nick Aldis, do I take the undisputed, undesirable, undeniable world heavyweight champion that went through that run, that is what Roman held, or do I take the working man's championship and the heavyweight champion in Damian Priest. My first crack. Who's my first pick? I would go with Cody because that was the title that was on your show for the last 2+ years. No, I don't know. I just think it's bizarre if he was to bypass and say, "Oh no, I'll take Priest." No disrespect, but I don't know. What's your take?
I'll tell you why that's not going to happen. For the last year, 18 months, SmackDown has been pretty much the A show. But Raw has historically been the A show.
Right.
What's happening in January?
Going to Netflix.
So if they're going to Netflix and Raw is the one that's the name has more power than SmackDown, they're going to try and. I think if I'm a general manager, or if I'm in charge of WWE, I would make Raw as strong as possible without trying to dilute SmackDown as much. So therefore, I would have Cody on Raw.
Here's a crazy notion. So let's take from sports, okay? I know you love your American football. Say this comes... the Bears. We're going to... Say, for instance, this is draft. This is a draft. Like if they pull from sports and it's a draft that Adam Pearce says, listen, Nick, you give me the first pick on SmackDown, first overall, I will give you the next 2 or 3 picks per se.
Trading up, basically.
Exactly. So then the value is like something they've taken from the sports where guys try to build their stock. Who's the number 1 draft pick overall? The one that's worth the most, the one that's going to change your team.
Mm-hmm.
And you trade up.
Yeah, you'd trade up for Cody.
Yeah.
Instantly, in a shot. Same back in the day, you trade up for Cena. You know, he is. I think even Triple H said it the weekend. Or even Monday. Sorry, he's now the standard bearer. He is the man. So, but like I said, I think that Raw on Netflix is going to be a lot more star power than SmackDown is right now and has been over the past year to 18 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks fun. That looks fun. We'll find when's that? Is it the 28th? Was it the draft?
I think
so. It's the end of the month.
It's really a couple weeks.
Exactly. I may stay up for that. Oh, talking about staying up and whatever else, I was going to let everyone know about my why I'm tired and have a headache.
Go for it.
So last week I did say that my WrestleMania weekend started on Thursday, which it did. I watched some Defy Wrestling, which was amazing, and then throughout the entire, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's 5 days, I think I slept no more than about 3 to 4 hours a night because I was just consuming so much wrestling. And it's now at the point after Raw where I've kind of overdosed on wrestling and I'm so done with it for like watching wrestling. I'm so done with it.
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
It's a lot. I watched, oh my God, off the top of my head. So I watched Defy Wrestling on Thursday. I watched some GCW shows, which was like Joey Janela's Spring Break, Joey Janela's Cluster F, which, by the way, is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely amazing. I watched it with my wingman, and there was a part, I can't think of the dude's name, and sorry, but this guy come out, and he's like a biker. And he comes out to Wheatus's Teenage Dirtbag, and the whole crowd starts singing Teenage Dirtbag.
Dirtbag, yeah.
The wrestlers that are in the ring, because the Cluster F is basically like a battle royal. So there's wrestlers in the ring who stop, jump out through the middle rope, stand with the crowd, and they're swaying, arms in the air, backwards and forwards, singing to Teenage Dirtbag. It is without doubt one of the greatest things I've ever seen in wrestling in my entire life. The song stops. He's just about to enter the ring and the crowd go, we want more, we want more. So he looks across to like Gorilla are like, maybe not. He's just about to step through and it starts all over again. And his opponent, or one of the opponents in the ring, he's just sat there with a face like thunder, like, oh my God, I just want to get on with the match. This is doing my head in. Is
it Nate Webb?
I'm sure it's that Spider.
Spider Nate Webb?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was amazing. I need to find some footage and post it on socials because me and my boy were just absolutely in fits. So anyway, we watched that. I watched Bloodsport, which was amazing. I lost my mind when Charlie Dempsey came out because that wasn't announced. I watched the Hall of Fame. I watched NXT. I just you name it, I watched it. And I woke up this morning. I have not just bags. I have goddamn suitcases under my eyes, and it feels like my head is in a vice, being pushed down from top. Yeah, I have a tension headache, and have had a tension headache for the last 2 days. But as my wife, as my wife said this morning, would you do it over again? And I didn't even hesitate. I was like, yeah, of course. I'm going to do it again next year. What am I about? So that's me.
We have to do in our lifetime together a WrestleMania trip. We spend a week. We try to be economical because we're responsible parents, husbands, and how do we piece money together that we're not going to break the bank with wherever WrestleMania may be, and we have to do a week of shows together and for it to culminate in it. So then we are taking in the culture, we're taking in the environment, we're taking in the atmosphere, and it's a one and done where it's not going to cost us our homes or our marriages. I think it's definitely a bucket list item in going to WrestleMania and doing the WrestleMania week for me. I just don't know when or where that might be. I'm thinking post-retirement when work obligations aren't so binding. Yeah. But I definitely want to do that with you, friend.
Oh, for sure. It's happening. As you said, I don't know when or where, but it's happening. Before I'm in the job now. I've grew up and worked in pubs over here. Now, in my last pub that I worked in, I was with Mr. Dan Conroy, and there was another guy, my boss, Paul Oxenham. Hello, Paul. All right, mate. How you doing? And every year, we still talk now, but every year we used to get to like Royal Rumble time. We used to watch all the pay-per-views upstairs in the pub, and we'd try and work out how much it would cost just for WrestleMania week. This is before it was even the first WrestleMania we watched together was WrestleMania 24. So that's how old this is.
Yep.
And we was trying to work out like how much it would cost. And each and every year, at least myself and Dan, we try and work out how much it will cost. Can we do it? It's getting more and more expensive every bloody year. And it's getting to that point now where it could be a lottery win kind of dream, but somehow, some way, it's going to happen. You know, you, me, Dan, Paul, any of you lot that are listening, you want to come? Just give us a shout. We'll arrange something.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, as I said to you on the last 2 nights, if we are doing a Mania, I'm not going to anywhere where I have to wear 17 layers of clothing to keep warm. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
It has to be warm. It has to be like a holiday. I'm not going to go there thinking it's Scotland, you know, freezing my nipples off or whatever. But yeah, that is definitely going to happen one day. One day, you watch this space or listen to this space. I should say.
Do.
Now we've sidetracked a little bit. Let's go back on track. Cody and Roman, an epic match on Sunday. Well, the Saturday match was epic, but the Sunday one was. We called it. We said there was going to be shenanigans, and there was throwbacks, callbacks, you name it. Apart from Austin, which sucked, but never mind. Wow. What did you think of the match? And again, where do you think both are going to go?
I was hoping it would have been longer. I'm a little surprised, but considering like the night before I'm like, oh my gosh, I messaged you at one point. I'm like, it's still going on. It felt like close to an hour. And this show finished just past 10:30 Eastern time. Like, so I'm thinking there would have been more involvement from other people, or these two would have been, but they didn't. It didn't suffer from it being hopelessly like overbooked with run-ins and interference. And I thought there would have been a little bit more just to it. Like the ending was what it was, and which was good, and which is what we wanted. And then yes, the run-ins. I just thought the time would have been longer, and I'm not sure some things were slightly miscalculated and should have taken longer or didn't. I think I don't know if Seth was barely making it in, but when he came in the ring, I barely noticed that he was in his Shield attire because he got Superman punched so quickly, and the camera couldn't seem to track where he was.
Yeah.
And so, was that mistimed? Was that supposed to have gotten longer? I don't know.
I get. Also, by the way, I did say that wouldn't it be funny if Seth come out with the Shield outfit, and
he did.
I lost my mind a little bit. I literally jumped up off the sofa, threw my cushion across, and went yeah, and nearly woke my wife up, who was right upstairs above me.
And we can't be the only ones that were sitting there listening to that music, thinking, "Is John Moxley coming out too?"
Yeah, it did cross my mind.
Come on, people had to have gone there, even if it was like, no.
But I think, going back to what Triple H said on Monday, talk to us. We're listening to you. Mm-hmm. Quite a lot of people said about the Saturday tag team main event that it went too long. So maybe they dialed it back. Oh yeah, way too long. People were having a go at The Rock, saying he was taking his time, forgetting that he's a 50-year-old man working in, what was it, 45 degrees, and it wasn't warm out there, folks. So he was taking his time. So I'm thinking that maybe they cut time from the tag match, from the main event on Sunday, to give him his big arm in the air, everyone in the ring, Mama Rhodes, Brandy, the big firework thing at the end. That's my thinking. The actual match itself, I wasn't looking forward to it because I thought it would be Russo booking convoluted run-ins that made no sense, or was just run-ins for the sake of run-ins. That made sense.
Yeah.
Apart from Taker, but then
Taker.
Was it you that sent me the message about
Taker? I sent you that, but even you said it's a stretch, and when I thought about it, I get it.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can elaborate on the message and then leave it up to listeners what their perspective on it is.
Let me scroll through this and try and find what you sent, because there we go. Somebody on Twitter, you took a screen grab and you sent it to me. So this person on Twitter, this is like verbatim what he said. Taker got his revenge on Heyman and Reigns, two guys that were involved in his only losses at Mania. Cena got his revenge on Solo for sending him out of WWE. That's obvious. Seth came through for Cody and kept his word to being his Shield. Obvious. Jay held off his brother. So many stories were finished here, not just Cody's. Pure brilliance by Triple H and everyone involved. Now, I kind of agree with that, apart from the Taker one. As I said to you, it's a stretch. The casual fan is not going to go, that's why Taker was there, because something that happened 10 plus years ago, he's getting his revenge now. It's every fan. I'm saying this now. Every fan knows Taker was there because Austin wasn't. That was it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my 2 penneth worth. But going back to what we were talking about with Cody. So he's now the champ. He came out Monday. He had that really nice video package that apparently no one knew about, but they just happened to have a TV set and everything else that was there. That was really nice. The Rock comes out, and it was a very, very different, strange Rock. There was no Roman. There was no bloodline. It was just Rock, who was a bit, as my wingman said to me, and please don't have a go at him. He's 12, folks. He said he's talking like a head case. Like he's taken what happened over the last 2 nights, as personal umbrage, and it's rocked his world, so to speak. Excuse the pun. Yeah. From what I've read, it's going to be a slow build until Mania next year. It's going to be Rock Cody next year. 2 questions. Do you think the slow build could work? That will last pretty much 12 months. I know they've done it before with Rock and Cena, and that sucked. Ugh. But could they do it this way with a brand new booking team? And secondly, what the hell did he give him?
And don't you dare break my heart again. What?
Quality line.
So it depends. Some people, speculation is how you check the internet wrestling community, you'll hear everything from, oh, he's giving him the diamond ring to a Hall of Fame ring, to the lighter that his bus had caught on fire, to it being a Rolex watch that was, and then I heard somebody argue it over, oh no, he said he was given a watch. Yeah, it was like the watch. It wasn't the actual watch. I'm like,
Yeah.
really, we're splitting hairs over that? That's silly. So wow, he's got two watches. I don't know if you can make it work and people be on board unless they really, really want to push that people. Like, Rock's got to work double hard to get people to just dislike him, especially if there's time elapsed from him being there. This is awkward chant. Yeah, it was pretty obvious.
That was weird. That was really weird.
Can I hold that title? You're gonna invite him to your birthday party too? Like, are we 5? I don't know. It felt very silly. But even Cody seemed weirded out by it. But
yeah,
it almost feels like there is this shift in Rockisms to Cody and who's more convincing in their role. And I really liked how Cody carries himself, and with Umbrance and the way he says things. I am your champion. I am this, like, you might be the boss, but I am your, like, so unless it's somebody that's trying to screw the champion, I don't know how this can go 12 months without there being more obstacles. This is really peculiar booking that they're going to have to try to convince people to want him not to lose the title now. Because the money was always in the chase for any face, right? You want to cheer them. You want them, and then they have their moment. Well, now what? He's got it. So how do you not have fans turn on Cody? How do you have... This is part of, I guess, the beauty in what they have to create.
Yeah. Before he who should not be named left the company, it was terrible. The writing was predictable. It was not good. Now he's gone and Triple H is in charge. I am a lot more confident that they could do this. Mm-hmm. How? I don't know. Could it be every once in a while there's going to be a Rockism, as you said, in the ring or in a promo or something, or someone is going to name drop Rock's name, and just to keep it going and keep people thinking about the Rock is still fresh in their mind. I don't know how, but I think it's going to work. I'm hoping. I retract that. I'm hoping it's going to work.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the last year, he had a stint of 3 months against Brock.
Yeah.
Who did he feud with after Brock? I'm trying to think of that was
Seth, wasn't
it? No, he didn't feud with Seth. See, and like we're here on the spot trying to think of things that were so notable for Cody. That was the bigger obstacle.
But as you said, it's the chase. Now he's the champion.
Yeah.
Who wrote? Oh, did you see Twitter at all over the weekend from Dijak?
No, sure.
He wrote on Dijak. I'm calling it now. It could be tomorrow.
Oh, right.
It could be a month.
Right. Yes. Well, Dijak.
It could be a year, but you fans will be turning on Cody. And he's right, because the chase is over. He's now the champ, and he's going to be very, very boring being that Cody being the champ. He's never. I don't think he's going to turn heel. Look, my wingman asked me the other night. He said, "Is he ever going to turn heel?" I said, "I very much doubt it, because he's like the new Cena." Mm-hmm. And even though Cena was close, I don't think Cody's anywhere near close to turning heel. Yeah. So there's going to be. Could he do shades of grey? Obviously, because he's shown it already. But he's never going to go full blown heel. Yeah, people will tire of him pretty soon. And then there's my next question: who could step up? Could it be Roman? Is Roman coming back? Did you see his post on Twitter as well? Talking about Twitter again. Roman, was it yesterday? He's basically on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Working out. and he just does this glare into the camera, which was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yesterday I mourned. Today is day one or something like that.
Yeah, today's day one. So good. Maybe he's not shooting off to Hollywood just yet.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
No.
The bloodline's not dead and buried yet, so we'll find out obviously more on Friday with SmackDown. But
I think Gunther becomes a threat.
Yeah,
he's done everything he could. You hold the Intercontinental title that long. Why would you want to keep him competing for that, right? But then Gunther could be a threat then to Priest too, right? So still holding that that value too. I hope they don't want to lose too much time with Seth, because Seth could be on the hunt. Then he's automatically a threat for any of those major titles too, right?
Yeah.
But I think if we're looking immediate, Gunther would be it. I can't.
I have a problem with that. I've got such a problem with that.
Too soon.
You know that, yeah, you know damn well that Cody's not dropping. So if you give him Gunther, you've not killed you've not killed him, but his momentum stalled. I'm not sure about that.
So do you put Gunther in main event-esque, like Fatal 4 type matches where he's not losing these matches, but others are winning them, but he's not necessarily losing them, right?
Exactly. He looks super strong during a match, and someone just flukes a win or something along those lines.
Yeah,
that would work. But just straight on one within the next 3 months, I think you really have stalled Gunther, and then you might have to start from square one again, because people are not going to remember he held the IC title for 666 days. It's just going to be, well, he was so strong, and now he's lost, and now he looks like a schmuck, a jabroni.
Exactly, and and we don't want that to happen to him, right? We don't.
No. I want to change his name back, but I don't want that to happen to him.
So I think he'll be in contention, maybe not holding the title, but definitely a threat, right?
He'll be floating around the main event scene for at least 6 months. Yeah. Again, my booking, you would float him around, and then you would push him big time.
Maybe he wins. Maybe he wins the Royal Rumble, or Elimination Chamber. No, who do you think wins it?
Rock
wins Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I mean, just couldn't make himself the main event like he tried to do last time.
No, he'll come in at number 30. He would have drawn, inverted commas, number 30, and he'll come out and, I don't know, maybe he doesn't even eliminate anyone. He just tells people to get out of the ring.
Because I can. Along
that kind of role.
Your job is at stake. Get out.
Exactly. He did it to the referee. What's to say he can't do it to other wrestlers?
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Hey.
Book it, folks. Book it now. Bookmark this. Rock is going to win next year's Royal Rumble. Unannounced entry, and he'll win.
Wow.
Look at us fancy booking. We could do an episode on that.
It's almost like a Mr. McMahon Stone Cold of a new era, where you try to your boss. You try to tell your boss what to do, but does it go like it did back in the 90s? I don't know.
I don't. That was lightning in the bottle. You're never going to catch that again. That was insane. Obviously, a pair of us living through it was must see TV every single Monday night, and every single bloody Raw and SmackDown. But it was to replicate that now is going to be very, very difficult. Which I think is why they're kind of sending Rock down this little breakdown kind of role that he had on Monday.
So could Cody still be feuding with Bloodline members or Bloodline family in the place of Rock not being there? So there's still somebody that's trying to take it away from him?
It depends on Roman. Obviously, we spoke about it last week, but the general consensus was that Roman was going to be off to Hollywood pretty soon. Now, after what he posted on Twitter yesterday that we've just spoken about, I don't think that's going to happen for a while yet. I reckon he wants revenge. He wants his title back. Cody's going to have his hands full with the Bloodline at least for the next month. Now, come the draft, are they getting split? Secondly, if Roman does decide to leave, what happens to the bloodline? Is anyone going to step up? Is Paul Heyman going to be the special counsel anymore? It is a whole lot of what ifs and buts.
And I think that's what they want. They want people to wonder and question, and that's part of the beauty of this, is because the more things we think we have an answer to, the more they change the questions, to quote Roddy Piper, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this so fun too.
That's what makes fantasy booking so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of times that, again, going back to my pub days, that me, Paul, and Mark were sat in the bar working, by the way, and we are slowly getting drunk and fantasy booking. We've booked a whole calendar year before, whilst working and slightly drunk. Actually, that's a lie. We were very drunk, but it was fun. Everyone does it. You go online, people. That's just what Twitter's good for. People go in there and they vent and do their fantasy booking. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. If you lot out there want to fantasy book, check us out on our socials. We'll tell you later what our handles are. Chuck us your thoughts and your ideas, and we'll discuss them. That's, like I said, we say this every week. We are, just imagine us as two guys, maybe not with me, Paul, and Dan, but we're just two guys in a bar having a drink and chatting wrestling, not working, drinking, and chatting wrestling, because that's not good.
No,
it's a lie. It was bloody brilliant, but it was We've covered the champions and the ex-champions and where they're going now. Go on.
I wanted to introduce. So you gave me the pleasure of introducing and giving me the floor, and I think this is you asked to talk about one particular person that we should all rise for. So I'm gonna shut up, because you, as a former ring announcer yourself, can appreciate this. I'm gonna stop talking, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Mark Blake conveying his admiration for Miss Samantha Irwin.
Hello there. My name is Mark Blake. I am an ex-ring announcer, and I use that term very, very loosely because I didn't do it a lot. I didn't do it a lot at all, mainly because I wasn't allowed to be me in a couple of places that I worked in. I had to follow rules, which is fine and fair enough, but I wasn't allowed to be me. What Samantha Irwin did this WrestleMania weekend was absolutely amazing. I posted it on Twitter. I said after night one that she did an amazing job. It was honest. I'm just gushing now, so I'm gonna try and rein myself in. She was fantastic. She was. How can I put it? So I was talking to people about this, and I said to them, when she does championship introductions, watch her. Obviously, you're watching the rest as well, but watch her make the introductions. The eye contact she keeps with that person, whether they're looking at her or not, the emotion, the power that she gives in every single syllable that she put into her ring announcing was insane. And then when WWE sent out that video of her announcing Cody as the champion, it brought back memories of me a long time ago. I was doing ring announcing for SEPW, and there was a particular tag team match that went above and beyond what we all expected. And when I was, not that you could hear me because the crowd was going absolutely ape for the finish and everything else, but when I was doing the ring announcing for the winners, I felt like what she felt like, but 1/100th of it. So seeing her being invested in the story, being supremely happy and joyous and emotional that her friend has now vanquished and slayed the dragon, it was everything I've ever wanted to do in ring announcing. And just seeing her like that, it was just I just had to. I thought it was just me that noticed this. But then jumping onto Twitter, and so many people were saying the same things. I was like, oh my God, people can see. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon saying, oh, ring announcers should be known, all this kind of stuff. No. If you're good enough, you'll get known. Look at the Think, look at her now. They earned their reputation for being supremely good at their job. And this weekend just gone, Samantha Irwin, in my opinion, right now is the best ring announcer of any promotion at all. Yeah, I'm sorry again, folks, for gushing, but us ring announcers, we don't get a lot of time to talk about ourselves. So I'm going to big her up as often as I can. But yeah, you can carry on, Mark.
Thank you for putting it so eloquently. It would be impossible to deny what she does with every ring announcement at any point, at any time. But this weekend, wow, we talk about everybody having star-making performances. This weekend, Samantha the Bomb really showed everybody how exceptional she is and how she puts so much heart into what she's doing. Because with a cracking voice, you could just try to skim the surface. Oh, I'm just going to take it easier. No, there is no tomorrow really with this. And right back to work on Monday with how hard she has to put everything in and how much she needs to show such restraint when to show it. I still think her Chelsea Green introduction is the best. It's just the best. But the way she did it for Cody and him even calling back for it again showed how much it meant, not just to him. A lot of people connected to it. And she's becoming a celebrity in her own right, for sure. But just like you said, why do certain ring announcers stand out? Because there's something special about the way they deliver a line. Howard Finkel, always popular for his "and new," right? Yeah. When mentioning that. But Lillian Garcia was always well established, well known, and their ring announcers bring a certain quality to it. Who was, because you are the bigger Edge fan between us, who was it that was doing his
Tony Chimmel?
Tony Chimmel, there you go.
Yeah. There's another one of our like crew back in the day, back in the pub days, Lee, and for a start, he looks like Adam Copeland. He really does. And secondly, he's a huge Edge fan, and yeah, he used to love Tony Chimmel's entrance for Adam or Edge. Mm-hmm. He was a big fan. Yeah. I've completely lost what I was talking about. Now I've got trip down memory lane there.
No worries.
It's like I said, it's the fact that now he who shall not be named has gone. Triple H is now steadying the ship, and you can see his influence, not just in the matches, not just in promos, not just in the NXT, which we'll talk about in a minute, folks.
Yep.
But it filters through it to Samantha. She looked like she was being absolutely 100% genuine, and she was. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think he told her, just go and have fun, go and announce the matches, make them to the best of your ability, and have fun. And by God, did she! Do you know how difficult it is to stop yourself from getting emotional / crying and ring announce at the same time? It's so hard.
I don't know.
I did it once. It once when Dan Conroy on his retirement match.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I nearly lost it halfway through, and it's so hard to compose yourself, to get yourself back into that mindset where, oh, I've got a job to do. So the way she did that, it's just, again, it's down with the kids. Give her flowers. She was so good.
Yeah,
so good. Thank you for that, dude.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Like I said, us ring announcers, I say us ring announcers like it's a fraternity, but we don't often get spoken about, and I think she's raised the bar and raised the game and shone a light on every other ring announcer in the world. So thank you, Samantha. Absolutely. Right, we're going to finish today with a quick look at yesterday's NXT. Now, the reason why I say that and bring it into a WrestleMania recap show is that it looks like we are getting some call-ups from NXT. Have you seen the news at all?
Well, I saw that Ilya's going to be facing Trick Williams at NXT Spring Breaking in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Braun, I thought, is kind of already there. I mean, Braun and
Baron Corbin?
Baron Corbin, thank you. They lost the NXT tag titles to Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So that one there seems like pretty, but I thought Braun is technically already on SmackDown, so I'm a little...
See, Braun is actually on the SmackDown roster.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the deal was. Was it come up when you've dropped the titles or
Maybe.
what? Which obviously we were looking at now. Now, without sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if you know, but it looks like that Baron Corbin is coming back up with Braun to continue the tag team.
Oh,
Yes.
really? Oh,
Yes. That could be fun. I enjoyed them. They were very. I didn't think I would because I'm not the biggest Baron Corbin fan, but I enjoyed their tandem. It was really good. I can see that. In regards to Ilya, going back to what you said about Spring Break main event, there is a caveat to that main event. Did you see that at all?
No, I didn't. Please elaborate.
Ilya said, "Yeah, Trick, not a problem. You want to face me? That's fine. But if you lose, you're gone. Either Trick Williams is getting called up, or Ilya's getting called up." To be fair, I wouldn't mind either. I mean, Trick didn't really showcase himself in the greatest lights last week on when was it? NXT against Carmelo Hayes. It wasn't the greatest match. He didn't really shower himself with goodness. I'll let that pass because I think it was first time as a main event, and it was the first. What did they say it was? It was the first main event to be headlined by two. It's first NXT to be main event headlined by two black guys.
Yeah.
Or two black wrestlers, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think maybe the occasion got to him a little bit, but I Trick can go. And Ilya, we've spoken ad nauseum about Ilya.
Ilya.
So him coming up would not be an issue at all. Although, if he does come up, he might be under the same kind of deal that Will Ospreay's got, because Ilya just flies in and out for matches because he still lives... Where does he live? Is it Germany or somewhere? I can't remember where he lives. It looks like he could be that kind of deal with him. So could he come up?
Now, do you think that would hinder whether or not they do bring him up because of so much? See, with Gunther, he decided to relocate. I thought that was an issue initially. Do you think that's... I mean, you're going to invest your time on being on these shows. There has to be some sort of... That's a lot on the body, changing of altitudes happening way too often. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, with Walter / Gunther, I think they wanted him. WWE wanted him on the main roster while he was still in NXT UK.
Right.
And he was like, no. I don't want to. My home, everything else is over here. Then COVID struck, and he became pretty much the focal point of NXT UK. And then once restrictions were lifted and everything else, I think he saw the world in a different light. Again, from my point of view, that's the way I see it. And he must have thought, right, okay, you only live once. Let's make a go of it. That's the way I see it. I could be 110% wrong, to be fair. I probably bloody am. But that's what I think.
Does he have children still at home with his first partner? Because he and Ginny just had a baby.
Yeah, him and Ginny have just had one. I am not 100% sure, to be fair.
Okay.
So,
I just think that would be hard.
Yeah. Well, depends on the ages.
Could be.
Depends on the ages. I mean, the older they are, the easier it is.
Yeah.
Apparently. But yeah, so they're two possible call-ups. And then you've got, well, not possible, because Braun, I think, is up because he did his goodbyes after NXT last night.
Oh, he did?
Okay. And then there's a possibility that Roxanne Perez could be coming up as well, which that's come out of nowhere to me because I didn't think she was ready. But, well, again, what do I know?
I don't see her going up yet. I still see her, she's still developing. for the most part. She needs to really develop the heel per se. I know she's really trying, and everything is so brand new. And keeping in mind that she's like 2021 too, so no, I don't see her. I think it might have been just a hey, look, she's here, she's competed, we've seen her, but I don't see her being one to go up per se. I think that they've got enough of the others that are either there or still kind of emerging. If any of the two, maybe Lyra comes up.
No, I don't think. No,
you don't think so?
I'm gonna say no for at least another year. She's got, oh my god, Tatum, whoever it is, the woman who
Paxley.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That feud is literally on your doorstep now after yesterday.
Yeah,
She's obviously got the feud with Roxanne at some point. She's going to try and get back to her. So that's the way I see it. 6 months. Who knows? But again, talking about Roxanne, I also read it's very confusing information because I also read the other day that they're very high on bringing her back with Cora Jade.
Yeah. Because it's funny how like they were both, there was animosity, and then there's lots of stuff on social media where they're just together a lot. And so, I mean, I'm guessing that they're friends, but it feels like these are, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, but it feels like these are AJ's children, kind of AJ Lee, the spawn of AJ Lee, and that they really channel her energy, and that's who's really, I look at Roxanne and I'm like, oh my gosh, she just gives me AJ Lee vibes 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, it's worse role models to have, isn't there? So fair play, absolute fair play. But yeah, that's all I've read and heard today. I haven't really done much else apart from a bit of prep for today. I haven't really checked anything. I'll have a quick look online now.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's the 3 that are possibly coming up from today's reports and yesterday's NXT.
I will tell you, the more I've watched NXT with Ilya as NXT champion, I had no idea how articulate he is as a promo. He's super convincing in how he delivers his lines. Yeah, I had no idea. So, I mean, I'm thinking still he's of Russian descent, correct?
I'm not sure if he's Russian or anything around it. I think he was packaged as Russian. Obviously, his finish as Torpedo Moscow and stuff. But then with what happened in the world with Russia and Ukraine, I'm not sure if they quietly dropped that and moved him across as.
Oh.
So again, folks, I could be wrong. If I am, please.
But I'm just talking like his pre-NXT days, like his time in the UK.
I only ever saw him once.
Competing.
I saw him once live. I used to watch him on WXW. I saw him once, and it was a Progress Wembley, and it was a massive battle royale. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a battle royale. He was facing Pete Dunne.
Oh boy!
The promos to it definitely gave it a very Russian kind of vibe, but I don't remember it being mentioned. So again, I'm old. I've got 102-degree fever. I've got strep throat. So, I could be wrong. I'm sure it was hinted at, but not outwardly said.
No, the reason I mentioned that is just the clarity in which he delivers his lines. I don't detect whether it be a Russian accent or a Ukrainian accent. It's just so clear. And I think that was something we've mentioned in the past is how convinced is a North American audience. Sadly, with a wonderful talent like a Shinsuke, like Asuka, like Io, like Kyrie, if they have a harder time understanding what they're saying, if it doesn't come across. But with him, it's
he had a sit down before the main event of NXT. So last week's NXT, he did a sit down with Tony D'Angelo, his opponent at NXT, Stand and Deliver. And Tony D'Angelo's like, if you lot don't know, he's based on like a mafia mob boss, but not outwardly said. Nope. And this sit down took place, and it was very ominous on both sides. And then Tony just leant across and he grabbed Ilya's hands, and Ilya had his hand hurt the week before from I can't be Channing Stacks, Lorenzo, in a match that they had. So his hand was all taped up, and Tony leant across and he grabbed Ilya's hand. Oh my God, his selling was superb.
Yeah,
it's just literally just slowly, just vice-like, slowly grabbing this like Ilya's hand, and Ilya was selling it like it was death, but he's not going to give in. He's gonna power through it, even though it hurts. Oh, It was so good. I sat there going, this is so good. Yeah, I said so good too many times there. So you carry on.
I think that was just my question. Like, if he's willing to relocate, like Gunther Walter was, I think that's the only question as to whether or not he's going to be someone to move up. Because Trick moving up. I mean, if Trick moves up, does Carmelo move up? Like, can they afford to, or do they have enough people in the pipeline? I will say, I haven't seen so much of beforehand, but Obafemi is somebody that's super dominant and in NXT. So,
wow, Obafemi, he is going to be huge. I mean, the guy's a bloody tank anyway, but when, it's not if, folks, when he gets called up, I think he's going to bypass the main event at NXT and go straight and get called up once he's lost the North American Championship. Oh my God, he is legit scary. I mean, he hasn't wrestled that much either. He's not long got up like on NXT TV. He's so good and so strong, and his physique, it's like it's been chiseled out of granite. And yeah, when he comes up, as long as they book him right, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I can't wait for that.
Excited to see what the future holds for Oba.
I don't know. I think we're done, aren't we? I can't think of much else to say.
No, I think we've exhausted the well.
Yes, I've sunk my coffee. My headache has disappeared. Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Thank everyone for your well wishes and everything else that I know you've sent across telepathically.
For sure.
But yeah, it's been great catching up about WrestleMania and the fallout. It's been a great couple of weeks talking about WrestleMania. As of next week, we will be back. Normal service will be resumed with everything else and WWE. Maybe, very possibly, maybe we'll be talking about a certain Young Bucks promo that's going to happen tonight.
Oh boy, potentially, yeah. We'll see what that's going to look like.
I still think they're going to swerve us, and it's going to be a spoof of this. In case you lot don't know, which obviously you must do because you're all wrestling fans and you're listening to us. But in case you don't, the Young Bucks, in conjunction with Tony Khan, are going to release video for certain parts of video, I should add, of what happened at I forgot, is it in or out? I forgot which one it is. The Wembley show last year.
All in.
Thank you. Again, I'm old and decrepit. But they're going to release video and they're going to talk about what happened on the back of what Punk said on Ariel Helwani's podcast last weekend. You watch that, take all the headlines for the next week. We will possibly talk about it next week along with everything else that happens in the wrestling world. Mark, before we go, show us your handles.
Sure, you can reach.
I don't mean love handles. I mean your your social handles.
Not a problem. I think those I've got to work on anyways. Got to start taking up yoga. Need more flexibility. But that's a conversation for another time. Let's see. You can reach us on Instagram at Pro Wrestling Post. You can reach our site, Twitter handle at Pro Wrestling PST. You can reach me personally at the Marc Madison, and you can come to us on our Facebook page where we are posting content constantly. There's posts going up. One just went up about 45 minutes ago, varying in degrees. Facebook, look up Pro Wrestling Post. You'll see us there and be one of the thousands that are following us.
Yeah. Just before I drop my handles, I did kind of say last week that I don't mention Pro Wrestling Post enough, and I kind of asked you all to go and at least have a look. The responses that I've got from people who said, "Wow, that site's amazing. It's a whole treasure trove of information." You're welcome. Spread the word. Tell everyone. As I said last week, and I will continue to say, That is a great group of people over there doing great work, led by Mark. Now I've done that. My socials are on Instagram. I got this wrong last week, and I can't believe I got this wrong. So my Instagram handle is at @the_Mark_Blake. And my handle on Twitter /X, which I will never call, but it's the Mark Madison. Oh my God. The Mark Blake, all one word. Drop us a line. DMs are open. Just don't send anything risque because my wife will batter me, possibly. Or to take a look herself. So yeah, just feel free, talk to us. As we said, if you've got anything you all want to talk about, let us know. We'll talk about it. We'll bring it up on next week's pod. Thank you all for listening. We've gone long again. It's probably not going to get this long for a while until we're probably SummerSlam, which is probably the next big pay-per-view and whole weekend activity. Until the next time, which will be very, very soon, I am Mark Blake. He is Mark Madison. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.